Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Thanks for checking in on me once again. Just wanted to do a quick video, kind of in response to a recent episode of the NPR Politics Podcast, which, by the way, if you don't listen to that podcast, I highly recommend it, especially leading into the upcoming election. It's got great analysis of everything that's going on politically. But I specifically wanted to address this recent episode because I think that it is very important information, and if I can help spread the message even just a little bit, even just with the people that follow me, then it will be beneficial. As you know, if you've been following some of my other videos, I've been talking a lot about the election lately, and specifically Joe Biden. And so in this episode, they basically outlined what's going on with mail-in voting and how that's kind of going to operate in the coming election. Why I feel this is so important is because our president is doing everything he can right now to keep it down, to suppress the vote, to discourage mail-in voting, because he knows that the more people vote, the more likely he is to lose. So it is incumbent on us to do our part to make sure that our vote isn't taken away. And what I would love to see happen is I would love to see people come out to vote who weren't going to vote, but are now motivated to vote because of what Donald Trump is doing. I see this as just once again, as many times has happened in his presidency, this was an opportunity for Donald Trump to show real leadership in recognizing the fact that voting by mail was going to be a necessity based on the current health crisis that we are in. Anyway, all that aside, this episode was really great. It basically went through in detail what steps you would need to take to vote, to make sure that you are able to vote this year. The interesting fact that they gave is that in 2018 midterm elections, there were several states that had as low as 10% mail-in voting participation, and a lot of those states are now going to be looking at 50% or more. So in a lot of those cases, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be having to learn how to do it, what they're doing. Now, here in my state, in California, if you're registered to vote, you're just automatically going to get a ballot mailed to you. And that's how some of the good states are doing it. But even in California, you need to do your due diligence to make sure that everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to. So the website that they plug is vote.org. Vote.org is your hub for everything you need. You go right in there. In my case, I just verified that I am registered to vote, and the good thing about doing that, aside from being sure that you're registered to vote, is making sure that they have your correct address. Because if you've not used mail-in voting before, and you may have moved at some point in the last few years, you may not have ever actually changed your address. And you still would have been able to vote in person, but they're not going to get your ballot to you at your home. So that, above all, is one reason to go into vote.org and check just for your address. And again, you can register to vote, and then what you can do is, if you are registered to vote, you can tell them what state you live in, and it will go down line item what you need to do in order to get your ballot. Again, if you're in California, you should be good to go. Simply by voting, you'll get your ballot in the mail. However, there are states that are a little bit more stringent. The concern that they expressed in the episode is that there may be people who think that they don't have an excuse to vote by mail, because there are states that actually require an excuse of sorts to make you eligible to get a ballot. However, several of the states, not necessarily all of them, but several of the states have greatly relaxed those requirements for an excuse for. I don't think it should. I don't think it should be considered an excuse. I think it's a basic right. But for right now, based on the crisis that we're in, many states are relaxing those requirements. For me, I've been absentee ballot for a long time, and so how that works is once you're already absentee ballot, you get your ballot mailed to you. It's essentially the same thing as mail-in balloting, except that mail-in balloting is kind of an exception situation, whereas absentee would be something that you do every year. But yeah, that's a long and short of it. Is vote.org, and I've been talking with friends about just the attempt at voter suppression that's happening in this country, and the concerns that we have with people feeling like the writing's on the wall somehow, and our president is going to succeed in his efforts to either suspend or cheat this election somehow. And I just want to make sure that we fight that. And knowledge is power, of course. So vote.org, go to vote.org, and even if you're not 18 yet, if you're going to turn 18 between now and election day, you can pledge to vote. You can put in your birth date, and they will remind you. They will send you a reminder as soon as you're eligible to vote, so that you can make sure that you get your ballot and you get registered to vote. Make sure you do that like now. If you haven't, and spread the word. Try to get as many people interested in voting as you can. If for no other reason than we have a president who is he's trying to suppress the vote, and you can't argue with the fact that our president is trying to force kids to go back to school because of the economy and because kids don't get very sick, but he's willing to send people into polling places. He wants to stop mail-in voting. This is a clear problem. He's not even trying to hide the hypocrisy here. So I just personally think it's so important, as I always say, it's this year more than ever, to get out there and vote. Go to vote.org and make sure that you're good to go, and share this message. Please tell people about it. Tell people to go to vote.org. Tell people to stand up against this tyrannical president who thinks that he is going to just make the rules up to his favor. We've got to reject that. So thanks again for listening. I'll be talking to you again very soon. Have a great rest of your day. And remember, don't be afraid to question the consensus.